Linda, I'm gonna do some of it. I'm gonna go into more detail about like the student section and other ways to use the resources. If you want to look at the slide deck, it's in the session. I'm gonna show just have you do a little bit more exploring on your own with different resources that I haven't shown so far. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a great lunch. If you would like to go ahead and open up a second browser, if you are a current or former returning user to RAS Plus, you can log in to your account through Clever, and you should see the Learning A to Z tile. If you find that you do not have an account, you can go ahead and log in with one of the training passwords that I'm showing you on the screen now. My only request is that you only use the training during our session today, because we do have a lot of professional learning going on in our company this week. It's a busy week for all of us. I see I have some people that are returning. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back again. This is 90 minutes long, so you'll have a lot more time to explore as well as look at other resources besides just the direct RAS Plus resources. Ways to use it, I think, easier for you. This is being recorded, and I think it's actually going straight to this website. I'm showing that I can actually watch the recording when I see the other two sessions that I've done today. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of things to the chat for you, so that way you'll have those. Many teachers have asked me for different slide decks that they wanted to see what I'm showing. They wanted to have a copy of that. So I am going to share first the folder that I've created for San Francisco. This is going to have everything that we're doing today. It will have all of those slide decks in it. If any of you are brand spanking new, I am going to add the Getting Started guide. That has a lot of just quick recordings, quick suggestions, reminders for you to use as well. All right, I'm going to give you just a minute to get logged in. Ms. Chan, we have not uploaded your new class rosters yet. The beauty of having Clever as your single sign-on is we do all the work. The district sends us your new class list, and we will add those and take out the students you had last year. So you don't have to do anything manually. It's all done for you. Already some great questions today. All right, I am going to go ahead and get started. Just a reminder, if you've not signed in today for any of the sessions, if this is your first session, please go ahead and use this QR code. Take a quick picture of it. And just a reminder of how you can get paid. That's probably a very important one. I'm guessing none of you won the lottery last night in Neptune, Florida. The name of our session today is Supporting Literacy Instruction with RAS Plus Resources. My name is Angela Romano, and I am the Strategic Account Manager with Professional Learning Services for San Francisco. Will Marshall is your account executive. I will share my email address later in the session, so that way if you have additional questions after the session, you're always free to go ahead and reach out to me. Our norms today are just collaborating. If you see something, share it out in the chat. Other people may not have gone into that area, but feel free to collaborate. And then if I need to slow down, if I need to go back to do something, I'll be happy to do that for you as well. I am a retired educator. I taught for 31 years. I've been doing staff development and consultations since I retired back in 2011. I'm an oldie, but I think a goodie. I live in Texas, as you can tell from my accent, but I am looking forward to coming to your area and meeting as many of you as I can. So if you don't mind adding in the chat, I'd love to know who you are, what grade level you teach, if you maybe service a specific group of students, but I would love to know who is in the audience, and then maybe also if you're new to RAS Plus or if you're very familiar with the resources. So I'll give you just a second to add that to the chat. Looks like we have about 25 teachers. This is my smallest session so far today. All right, I'll give you a minute to do that. I'm going to go ahead and share out our session objectives. I really want to dive into RAS Plus in general with the literacy resources. So many times teachers will download a book and that's all that they use this for. I want to really show you the impact and power that you can have with using the student experience, and also looking at other resources that are available for you. And then lastly, because you are going to be getting your new list soon, we want to make sure that you're actually customizing that student experience. It's been a while since we've done any RAS Plus professional development for you. So this is a great resource or great refresher for you as well. So the very first area that I want to start with are, it's going to be the student resources and what they have in their RAS Kids portal. All of the kids have access to Level Up. That's going to be several different types of books that are at their highest independent reading level. It gives them the opportunity to listen, to read, and to take quizzes with those books. It's going to give you a lot of data on any deficits that the kids may have with those comprehension skills. They also have the reading room. I like to call it the free choice, and it's where the kids can go in and actually pick and choose any books that they want to read. I am kind of particular about the reading room. I like to make suggestions about really using the reading room for intentional purposes and just putting in those most specific resources, and not resources that, well, obviously fifth grade doesn't need alphabet. So I want to make sure that everybody knows how to really benefit, get the kids to get the best benefits from the reading room. Of course, the biggest one of all are the assignments. That's where you're going in, and anything you've digitally assigned to those students, you've gone in and chosen those just right resources. Those are the ones that you're honing in on for the kids while they are in their RAS Kids experience. Now, part of the RAS Kids experience is using the digital tools. And as you can see on the screen, there are many different types of benefits that are available for you to use when the kids are in the digital tools. You know, whatever the kids may be doing, if they're highlighting, if they're doing any kind of note annotations, or they're going back to locate textual evidence, all of those are going to help with those great reading strategies and also promoting that student engagement. So I want us to go ahead and go into the student portal. And for now, since you're in Clever, you won't have access to the student portal. For now, if you'll just watch my screen, I can show you some of the different resources. All right, let's start off in the primary portal for the little ones. So when the kids log in, your students are going to see the reading portal. They're not going to see the other resources that are available, but they will see the reading portal. They're also going to see a message board, their stats, and the star zone. Just a reminder, the kids do earn stars for anything that they do. If they're listening, they're reading, they're taking quizzes, they're going to see all of those different features. They're going to earn stars for all of those. And I love those stars. I'm also going to show you how to turn those on and off. So that way it's going to give you more benefit of that time on task rather than being in that star zone. Messages are fun because you can send motivational, positive, you can encourage the kids, set goals with the kids, or you can actually give them specific directions of things that you want them to do. Parents also have access, so they may request reporting access, and you'll get an email for that. All right, so when I open up a K2 portal, the kids are going to see automatically their level up and their reading room. And in level up, remember, we're choosing a variety of text for the kids. We want them to have a variety of genres, poetry, fiction, nonfiction text, but they also have the opportunity to listen to an adult reading fluently with prosody. And so in level A, which is my grandson's level right now, he has about 20 plus books. These books are very short and sweet because they are level A, going to be very, very repetitive text. But Jace has the opportunity to listen to the story. He can read the story. And while Jace is reading, he can do several things. And this goes for the older kids as well as the younger students. They can record themselves. So when you think about a child recording, we want them to build that fluency. Other ways that you can use that record button. Maybe the kids have read the story. So maybe I want Jace to read about the bird colors. And then after he's finished, he can maybe do a retell of all the different types of birds and the many different colors that they have. You may pose a question, what was the key idea of this story? And they can use that microphone. I see many of you are interventionists, special education teachers. So kind of think outside of the box of ways to bring in that engagement for the kids. They're not able to write, this would be a great way to get their responses. And all of this will go into your in basket. So that way you can go back and listen to anything that the kids have said. Also, while they're in here, they have other tools. Think about how could they use a colored pencil? What would benefit from them using a highlighter or a stamp? Maybe the word is my focus for kindergarten. That's one of our sight words that we're working on. I'm going to save these other two for when I go into the other portal. So when the kids have completed listening and reading, or one or both, then they're able to go in and take that quiz. Now, AAs does not have any quizzes, but A through G, the kids can listen to the questions, and then they can go back into the story and find those answers. So what is the detail in this book? Is it a white bird or a green bird? Kids could go back, and even the younger kindergartners, and we can see, what color birds did we actually have in the story? Of course, we had this green bird. So I could tell the kids I would like for them to highlight where they're getting their answers. So when Jace goes back to the quiz, he can click on the green bird, and we already know the answer's right because it was in the story. How many colored birds are the same as the green bird? What do they have? The beaks are the same color, so on and so forth. Once the kids have taken that quiz, they're able to go back, and if they missed anything, they can go back and correct those answers. Of course, you're going to get all of that good data on different types of questions that the kids may have. So I do encourage you to bring in that active engagement while the kids are both reading and taking those quizzes. Once Jace has completed all of these tasks, we automatically move him up to the next level. However, you're always able to go in and lower the level or raise the level for your students. Now, later in the session, we're going to come back to this area to customize it. So right now, well, not with this one, but Jace has access to many different resources. There's actually over 3,000 resources that are populated automatically into RAS Plus. Some of them are geared more for the younger kids, such as the early reading. There's also many different types of resources that are geared for your upper level that Jace really doesn't have any business having. And that's really what I've done for him. He's going into kindergarten. I've got some level books for him to listen to. I've got foundational skills. He's got the alphabet, high frequency word, decodables. All of those are in there for him to just read for fun. I've put some poems and nursery rhymes in there. And then, of course, I added the classics in case his mom or dad want to read to him at night using some of those books. The My Assignment, that is the key area as far as I'm concerned. When I was teaching, I taught the little ones for several years, and then I moved into intervention. My own child was a struggling reader, and I just knew that there were so many other kids that needed help just like he did, and I wanted to be able to do that, and was very, very rewarding. So bless all of you that are doing that with your kids. So when I get into my assignment, there's two ways, of course, that you can assign out. You can assign just individual assignments for the kids, just maybe for fun. Maybe there's a specific purpose that you want them to use. However, a lot of times like to build a folder around those resources. And you can see, looking at some of my assignments, I'm focusing on character analysis. Jace is focusing on cause and effect or inferencing. I've got some back to school books, just some fun books that I want him to be exposed to. I'm doing a Chicken Little shared reading. I want him to have that book open when I'm doing my whole group lesson so that he can actively participate using his book. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use that assignment area for the kids. Parents do have access to the reports, and they can also send messages. So I would suggest, they're going to see that. You're going to get an email from us asking you to grant them access. When, Jace has earned his stars, he can go in, he can buy different objects that if he wants to put them in his RAS rocket, he can go in and do that. If he doesn't have enough stars, it will tell them that he's not able to buy those, but he can click on this and he can choose. So that's a lot of fun for them. The main area though that kids have is the avatar. Upper kids love this one as well. You can see we've got his avatar as a camper right now, but he can go in and change anything he wants. Some of these are free, and then some of them do cost stars. All right, so let's take a look at the intermediate. So this is really geared around 3rd through 5th. So those of you that teach 3rd grade, this is what your kids will see. So it's a little more grown up. They can see all of their stats, what they've done. They also can see their messages. They can create backgrounds. They earn badges. And then these are different assignments that have been made for Angela. So when I log in, basically the same thing I just showed you with Jace. However, this time Angela's in 3rd grade. She's reading at the beginning levels of 3rd grade. I actually turned the listen feature off in Level Up. I want Angela to just read the book and take the quiz. You know, this is an independent level for her, so she should feel pretty comfortable doing that. If she doesn't feel comfortable, she can go back into the reading room and she can pull up the listen for her. But while they're reading the story, then I'm just going to choose a different book that I haven't used forever and ever. So when I go into Coral Reefs, I can actually, as I'm reading, maybe that the teacher, has asked me to locate key ideas and details through the story. I could actually pull down a note card and I could write down key idea is such and such. Here are some details. Maybe I'm comparing and contrasting 2 different characters. So a lot of different ways that you can use these tools. Great way to bring in questioning, summarizing, good way to just monitor the kids. You know, if that's maybe too hard for the kids, then have them highlight key ideas, circle, or, you know, circle those details. You know, talk about different, when you're doing cause and effect, highlight the cause, underline the effect, or circle the effect. You can choose whatever you want them to do, just make it purposeful for them. There's a reason behind that. And then, of course, when the kids take the quiz, we always want to make sure that they do go back and highlight those answers in their stories. They're not going to fail the quizzes. I mean, if you see kids failing quizzes, it's because they're just guessing, you know, A, B, C, or D. But if you make it intentional and you make them go to the story and underline or highlight the textual evidence, you'll be able to see it, right? You can view what the kids see. So my goal for this year for teachers is to make RAS kids more intentional. You know, it's a fun area, but it can still have intentional purposes. I did see a question in the chat. The district purchases RAS Plus, which includes RAS kids, for transitional kindergarten up through 3rd grade. So it's not available for 4th grade. All right, reading room, as I told you, and in my area, you know, I can go in, and again, this may look totally different for a 3rd grader than it would look for a kindergartner. And then assignments, basically the same thing that we saw in Jace's. My single assignments, and then any assignments, you know, where I have a specific focus of what I want the kids to work on. And as they complete those, they have their check marks to let them know that they've completed their assignments. All right, any questions about the student portal and the student experience? There's one more area that I want to show you. One of the features for progress monitoring for your kids are knowing what that just right independent level is you can actually assign an assessment, or you can have the kids do it on paper with you. But when you assign this, the kids, when they click on the microphone, it's going to ask them if they have time, and it's going to immediately start to record the student. You can see my green bar. So it's thinking that I'm reading this story right now. When I complete this story, then it's going to ask me to do a retell in my own words what I just read. So another great comprehension skill. And then I have my comprehension quiz. Now, we don't want kids to do this. And they don't have the opportunity to go back because of, we want to know what the kids know based on that first read. You know, we're looking for fluency as well as comprehension. So that is another option of an activity that you can do with your kids. All right, I did not see any questions about the student experience, so I have just a real quick activity for you. We're only going to take about maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and thinking about and instead of doing pair shares, since we're in the chat in a virtual meeting, let's just think about and put in the chat, please, how do you think these resources could support your students? And as a student, as a teacher, what might you do to make these more effective? What are you already thinking? I need to model this for my kids. And, what are some other ways that you could do that for the kids? So I'll give you just about 3 minutes to just add something in the chat for me. Oh, definitely, Diana. And thank you for making that comment about the clever badges, because yes, RAS Plus is, or RAS Kids for the kids. This is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all through the holidays, all through the summer. San Francisco has purchased RAS Plus for years. I don't see it going away, so you should have access. So, really going in and making this part of that home connection. Kids have resources. If when I showed the classics, I've actually had parents that have told me that they use those books as read alouds when they're putting their kids to bed at night. It's also a great way, if you have your ELL kids, you could have the kids reading in English, but then you also have the Spanish books where if the parents wanted to read the Spanish version, they could do that as well, and that would be another connection. Oh, great. Livel's comments. Thank you so much. Linda, you made a comment about modeling to the students and the parents. On y'all's next exploration, I'm going to actually add a resource to the chat. We've provided it to the district before, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in that folder for you. It's actually a parent and student resource where there's a quick video that you can send that document home, and there's a link that tells the parents about using RAS Kids, and then it also kind of gives the kids an intro to it. So I'll add that to the y'all's folder whenever we do our next exploration. Darcy, there's not a way to turn off the retail. I mean, that's just another way of building those comprehension skills. If you don't want them to see the retail, I mean, they could click the record and say hi and then move on if you wanted them to, but you may want to go ahead and use paper, maybe if they're the little kids. But retail is a great skill. It's a great strategy for the kids to improve and, to improve that comprehension and to build that knowledge. All right, so let's go into the next piece. So I work with the largest school districts in the United States. I have the best job in the world because I get to work with people like you every day. When you think about using RAS Plus, most of the time, teachers will use us in these 3 different ways. So it's very, very flexible for you. When you're working with the kids in shared practice, if it's a read aloud or if it's shared reading with them, you're able to share that responsibility with the kids to navigate that text. You can use grade level text or you can use above level text because you're the one that explicitly modeling the different concepts. You're asking, you're building in close reading skills, and you're also asking great questions about whatever it is that you're reading. When you move in from that shared practice, that whole group, and go into that small group instruction, this is, again, another way that you're going in to really scaffold that approach to instruction. You're asking higher order thinking questions. You're also really honing in on specific literacy-based strategies and skills. And then, of course, probably the most popular is the independent practice. And I kind of want you to think outside of the box when I say independent practice. Not only do we want the kids to have books that are at or near their level, it's going to give them that opportunity to not be frustrated because something is too hard, but giving them, building that love of reading. But the other piece to that independent practice, as we're looking through resources, and one of you made this comment, really thinking intentionally with that independent practice. I've modeled something, now I want them to apply their understanding. Independent practice would be a great way that you could do it. I've added this document to your folder, and I'm going to go ahead and I dropped that link in earlier, but let me drop it in one more time for you. This link has all of your anything that I've created for the district, and this is where I'll put that parent and student resource. Once I get it in there, it'll be in this folder. All of the slide decks for today will be in there. I've actually added a couple of other documents. So feel free to maybe put a star by this when you open it up, so that way you have access to it at any time that you need it. Think about today, as we're going through these resources, what are some ways that I can use RAS in my classroom? When I'm doing it in whole group, when I'm using the whiteboard, I've got that great projectable where I can actually model how to use those e-tools. Maybe I'm having the kids doing, they're working in a small group and I'm having them read different decodables. Maybe I have my kids, later in the day, we're going to be working in science on maybe our senses. So I'm going to put a small group of kids, part of their workstation. It's going to actually be, they're going to read the book or listen to the story before we actually get into it. So I'm pre-teaching already using some additional science content. So lots of different ways that you can use within your classroom. All right, so one of the first things that I want us to get into, to get into the resources, are general information. So we're going to go live in just a few minutes, but what I want to start off with are making sure you know where your standards are, so that way you can pull those materials that have been aligned with those standards. And I also want to show you the Instructional Tools tab. That area has different things that you can come back to over time if you need to. The video library is a wonderful place to listen to a 2-minute recording on tips for using shared reading or how to use comprehension skill packs in your classroom. So those are 3 areas we're going to target in just a couple of minutes. And then I also want to share the file cabinet feature. And again, intentional practice. As you can see on mine, I've built a lot of different folders. They have a lot of different names. You can name them whatever you want. The thing about it is you can put the different resources, those intentional resources, into that folder. You can also add your documents too. So everything's all in one folder. Whenever you're ready to assign it, you can assign it out. Whenever you need to print out all the resources, all of them are right there in one little spot, and you're not going back to trying to find it. Remember, there's 50,000 resources. So file folders really make your life easy, and they stay with you. As long as you have your account, they're always going to be there. You can add your standards to it. You can also share those out with other teachers. So those file folders have a lot of great ways that you can use to benefit not only you, but not only the kids, but you as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the RAS Plus. Now, some of you, when you first logged in, you're probably on the student management page. And so what you need to do is just come up to the top of the page and go to RAS Plus, and you'll end up on this landing page. Now, I want to show you one thing that's on this landing page first, because there's some neat resources on here that I think you can use like right now before school starts. So when I click on this tab that says Discover Resources, when I open it up, it's a full page of different resources that help build that comprehension with your students. So when you open it up, these are all of the products that we have in Learning A to Z, and you have access to RAS Plus. But on this first page, you can get free webs. We have live and recorded webs at your fingertips. You also can get more information about using those e-tools. And we also have 2 student surveys. Now, these are brand new. I was excited to see these last week. If you want to get to know your students at the beginning of the year, you might want to download these surveys. There's a little bit of information about the reading room. And then there's actually a family questionnaire that you can send home with the kids for the parents to fill out, just to help you to get to know them. There are a couple of videos that are there that you can give out to your parents as well. When you click on the actual RAS Plus tab, it's just going to take you to other areas around the reading rope, the science of reading, setting up those benchmark, running records for the kids. So just a lot of different areas that help you to know where what resources are available. So I love the fact that we have that area now. Like I said, it's brand spanking new. Now we're going to head down to the instructional tool area. It's the very bottom. And I mentioned your standards are located here. Also, under the instructional tool tab, I'm going to talk about assignments in the file cabinet, but you do have that information here. When you look at the projectable area, as I said, it's a great way to model what the kids would do in their own RAS Kids account. But I wanted to show you, we have a PDF on projectable book tips that you can actually download to get some additional ideas of ways to use those projectables. If you are special education, you do intervention, you've got a couple of areas that support those areas. You also have information on structured literacy, as well as support for your ELL students. When you are finding that just right independent level, you can go in and use the level correlation chart. We do have levels that correlate with F&P, grade levels, as well as Lexicals. So a lot, as you can see, a lot of different information in here. So what I would like for you to do is to take just, I'm gonna say about 3 minutes, and on that landing page, in that instructional tool area, go ahead and maybe open up 1 or 2 things that you were interested in, and just think about how is this resource going to help me with my planning. Christina, the decodable passage packs are embedded into your RAS Plus. And maybe add to the chat one thing that you actually pulled up and you explored in that instructional tool area. Or if you opened up that welcome back to school area. As you're looking at the landing page and just looking at everything, as you scroll down, does anybody know what August 9th is famous for? It's a national day. Well, if you would scroll down almost to the bottom of the page, you will see our resource calendar, and it actually shows that August 9th is National Book Lovers Day. And when you click on that tab, it's going to give you several books around book lovers, and just anything that has to do with reading books. So that's always a fun feature if you didn't know that that calendar was there. All of the resources in RAS Plus are projectables, and we'll take a look at that. All right. I'm going to show you some different resources that you can think about exploring. But one of the things that I want to do first is I've been doing this during the summer with all of my schools, and the teachers have all said, Angie, thank you so much for showing me that. It really helped me when I was looking through my resources to add things. You're going to see things when you're going through this exploration, and you're going to think, oh, I could use that in September. I could use that in April. Ooh, this would be good around the holidays. But then come time, September or April or holiday, you're like, where was that? I know I saw it, but there's 50,000 places it could be. So I have a couple of suggestions for you. When you come up to the file cabinet, when you think about your file cabinet at school, inside of those files are all the pertinent resources that you need for whatever it is that you might be teaching. You can do that very same thing for that intentional planning with your kids. This morning in one of our sessions, we made a phonics folder. We also talked about comprehension. You can see I have many different types of titles in here. Comprehension skills. I pulled drama scripts. I was looking for particular decodables for our controlled vowels. I was looking for some fluency. So as you are working today, what you might want to do when you click on that file cabinet is click on this new folder. And you might want to name it resources I want to use, or, you know, whatever you want to name it. And that way, as you're exploring, you can actually add those to your files. So I have a question in the chat. So Elaine, on the home page, on that magenta colored bar, you have a file cabinet. Okay. All right. I'm going to name my folder the everything folder. And I'm going to save it. Now, one of the things that I might want to do while with that folder is I can make subfolders. So maybe I want to make a folder as I'm looking at the different tabs. So I have a foundational skill tab. And I'm going to add that to my as a subfolder. I might also, one of my favorite features are the focused instruction. And these are just tabs, so that way I'll remember where I found those tabs, where I found that was this was the resource tab here of where I found those. So, you know, take a minute, especially if you're in your Clever accounts. If you want to practice in the training account, that's okay too. And remember, with these, under the Actions tab, I can add a description, I can add my state standards, I can also share these out with other teachers. Once you share them out with the other teachers, then you're able to assign the resources that you chose for the kids. You can assign those out. I'll give you an example. So under my Inferences tab that I made earlier, I can assign the planet books, so the Mars, Inferencing, and Bird's Nest, out to the kids, and I can print all these PDFs for either me or the kids to have too. So very, very intentional. If you were not able to access in Clever, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of training usernames and passwords. We do ask that you only use this during the session today. All right, are we good as far as our folders? We're ready to dive in. So as you open up your resource tabs, you're going to see that, well, first off, the one that says curriculum, just skip it. Don't waste your time. Your district has their own scope and sequence. That's really not going to give you any benefit. So I wouldn't waste my time there. All right, so as we look at all of these other tabs, under the level text tab, this is where you're going to see those 2,600 plus books that range from transitional kindergarten all the way up through end of 5th grade, maybe even some beyond, that you have access to. You have all the digital as well as the printable resources with all of the leveled books. I had a question about it being projectable. So when you are searching, you can search by grade level. So if I was looking for maybe some 1st grade level text, I can also filter it. Do I need just fiction, just nonfiction? Maybe I want a multi-level set. So you can go in and choose different resources that you're looking for. And so now when I pull up my 1st grade level text, let's see, we're going to do Amazing Beaches. So when I open this up, I have that orange assign button. So if I want the kids to read it, I can go in and assign it out. If I want to add that, what you might want to do, because you know it's a level text, what I could do is under my everything tab, I could actually make a new folder and I could call it level text just to remind me of what's in there. So I can add that, and I'm just going to add this book. But in addition to adding the book, look at everything else that you have. You have a wordless book that you could get your little ones to maybe create their own story. Maybe I need the Spanish. I could add the Spanish book. I have a great lesson plan and supplement. I have some different worksheets. I have something to use for a strategy for visualization. I have a compare and contrast. So you have all of these different worksheets. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of those, even though I may not use all of them. I'm going to add them all, because that way when I'm ready to print, it will all be there for me. So it's just a great way for you to embed those resources. One of the main reasons I opened that up just now is that so many times teachers just pull a book and they never look at all of these wonderful resources that are here to help you and support you in any way. I don't know that I think I forgot to add that one in there. There we go. All right. One of the other areas within that level text area are your content area books. So if you're teaching other subject matter, you've always got these books that you can filter and choose books that, you know, have those books available. Now let's look at assessments. I showed you a running record assessment whenever we were in my kids account, and those are those benchmark passages. Because we have transitional kindergarten and kindergarten, you've got some great alphabet letter naming assessments. You also have some paper phonological awareness assessments and phonics assessments for all of your grade levels. There's sight word assessments, fluency time passages assessments. So this tab is going to give you where you can get data, maybe at the beginning of the year, to see exactly where your students are. So you might want to go in and make a folder or take a look at what you see in that area. Now, if I teach K2 for sure, this is going to be an area that I want to look at. If any of you were in my other two sessions, I went in very explicit detail about this area. We have phonics lessons from kindergarten through 4th grade. All of the lesson plans are very explicit. Again, you want to open up that lesson plan. You want to open up that landing page. Not only are you going to see a lesson plan, you're going to see your objectives and all of the materials that you need. You don't have to go buy materials to teach phonics. We have lots of materials embedded that you can click and print and have a learning station ready for your kids very, very quickly. You need fluency practice. There's some passages in here. A lot of times teachers use readers' theater scripts to teach fluency. So Foundational Skills has a lot of different resources that are available in there for you to pick and choose from. All right, I'm not going to overwhelm you, so I'm going to ask you to do something for me. What I would like for you to do is to take the next 10 minutes, and I'm going to plead and beg that you only look at level text, assessments, and foundational skills. I promise I'm going to show you the other two, but I don't want to overwhelm you. So probably your level text or those foundational skills, be sure and open up the whole area, the lesson plan, what the kids are going to get, all the different resources. So that way you have a better understanding of how to use that. I don't want you to walk away today with your mind full of 50,000 resources. I want your mind to walk away with, I've got 3 or 4 resources that I know for sure I'm going to start the year off with. Later on, I can go back and I can maybe pick a couple of others. So just kind of an appetizer today of different resources that you think you know that maybe you don't have any of those resources. So I'm going to set the timer. While you are doing that, I'm going to add that parent resource, and I'm also going to check and respond to any questions that we may have. And if you have additional questions, just feel free to put them in the chat or unmute your mic, and I'm happy to answer those. All right, happy exploration time. I'm adding the parent and student resources and also some parent toolkits that you can download and send out to your parents as well. You might also want to, if you open up one of the areas with the projectable, you may also want to practice with that projectable feature and just see how to use those e-tools. Linda, if you're just strictly assigning like different books to the kids, let's say you're doing a search using the search tab. Maybe you're looking for books for maybe back to school for the kids. So I could actually put in the topic in my search bar. And once I have filtered it to where maybe I'm just looking for grade level text, maybe I'm looking for second grade level, and maybe I'm just looking for English, maybe I'm just looking for Spanish, you can pick and choose. You can choose, whatever types. And then once you've done that, if you want to go in and assign those out, you can quickly do that assignment here. If you hover over the different books, although I don't know why it's not letting me do that today. Let me do a refresh. So normally you will see the assign button right here, and you can go in and you can just quickly assign those out to the kids. So that may be one way that would help you. The reason that we don't do the multiple books, assigning those like that, that's where you would just put those books in that folder, and then it would assign them all out at one time. I don't think that's something that we're going to change in the future because of the differentiated resources. It's a lot harder to pick and choose what those multiple resources would be. If you put them in the file cabinet, if you go in and just build that folder, then you can you're assigning multiple resources here. So I hope that helped. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in the file folder. That really can make your life so much easier. And the thing is that you have it next year too. It's not going to go away, and you can change it if you need to. All right, and if you don't mind, we have about a minute left. If you can just put, I know there's 62 of you in here. I would love to see 62 resources. One resource that you found in the level text or the assessments or the foundational skills that you want to use with your students. Just one. That's all I ask. Now, Ralph, I know you put in the link for the comment conversations. Not everyone has the RISE Plus ELL. I believe the district only has 25 licenses, and those were given out to different ELL teachers. So I just want to make everyone aware that not everyone has that resource. And if you're using our training passwords today, what I'm giving you is access to everything. No worry. I just wanted to clarify there's only about 25 people in the district that has the ELL. Oh, I love y'all's answers. Christine, you get the Angie Award today for organizing resources in your files. I love it. You put a huge smile on my face. I want you to tell me later how nice, how easy your life is now. Oh, the nursery rhymes, Brittany, excellent. Those are so much fun for the kids. Christina, I love how you said the syllable cards. I mean, all of you have found, not one of you have said the same thing. And that's the beauty of RISE Plus. You can differentiate not only for your kids, you know, but for you as well. Songs, yes. Oh, those songbooks are darling. Yeah, Linda, the black and white printables, I'm glad you brought that up. Those read in color are fun for the little ones to use. All right, so let's keep going. Now, one of the things that I kind of want to go back to the projectables. And so I'm actually going to choose a resource under the level text. I'm going to choose the shared reading. This is a great, I mean, it's great for K3 for anything, but when you are using that resource on you have a great 5-day lesson plan. And I'm not going to tell you everything about it because I want you to explore it. But on the first day, you use the projectable that just has the book. But days 2 through 5, you use the one that has the prompts. So this is an active engagement activity. Kids can be sitting on the floor and coming up to the board and doing it. You have the e-tools all on the left side. These are the same e-tools that kids have in their books as well. So they're using the pencil tool to underline the title and circle the author, which you can see Angie has already done. Use the pencil tool to mark the place where you would begin reading on the page. So you can see I actually used my arrows. So lots of different ways you can use that in your projectable as you're modeling. But guess what else you can do? Again, active engagement, intentional practice. So this shows you what the kids can see. So I can assign this book out to the kids. While we are doing this, while I'm projecting it and I'm doing my modeling, I could have the kids, boys and girls, go ahead and get your colored pencil. Choose your favorite color, and I want you to underline the title. And I also want you to put a circle around the author. The author is the person that wrote the story for us. And it's perfect. You have 100% student engagement. You know, I don't remember if y'all are one-to-one on your devices, but if you are, that is a perfect activity that you could do. If you're asking questions, maybe you could have a whiteboard and have the kids respond on the whiteboard as well. So again, think about different ways to, one of you made that comment about modeling for the RISE Kids experience. That digital preview area is the perfect area for that you could actually go in and model that for the kids, exactly what you wanted them to do. All right, I want us to look at 2 more areas that I think would be beneficial for you. We have the focused instruction. We also have the writing vocabulary and word work. Now, I'm going to reference just real quickly. If you need Spanish resources, they're all available right here. or they're embedded in all of the different sections. If you need other world languages, those are listed there as well. All right, under your focused instruction, these are really designed for 1st through 5th grade. A lot of these are really just designed for 2nd through 5th, 3rd through 5th. This is more of that honing in on those comprehension skills, providing shorter passages for the kids. If you teach 2nd and 3rd, you really may want to look at some of these resources. TK, kindergarten, 1st grade, you've still got comprehension skill packs you can use. You've got paired books, shared reading, visual devices, graphic organizers. All of those can be used at your grade level. These under topics are really designed around 2nd through 5th grade. I did an intervention session earlier. Your intervention is a great way for 3rd, 4th, and 5th to have additional decodable passage packs. The tutoring and mentoring packs is full of all kinds of resources for intervention, whether it's phonics, phonological awareness, comprehension, fluency. There's game packs in there. All of those are available for you to use with your students. So again, think about which one. May pick one out of this area, and then you may want to go into your writing, vocabulary, and word work. This was actually really popular in one of my earlier sessions. Teachers were saying, Angie, we had no idea we had access to all of this. Some of the TK teachers in kindergarten were really excited to see a lot of the handwriting, the alphabet work that was available. We have daily grammar in here, writer's response, vocabulary, word sorts. So notice there's a lot of learning center activities. Again, they're free of charge. They're print and go for you. So again, think about, what would I be most interested in? Anytime you open up one of these, remember I mentioned that video library at the beginning, you're always going to have a quick little 2-minute recording on how to use or tips of using those. All right, how about 6 minutes this time? Because I do want to get into the student management. I would rather have time to get into student manager and let y'all come back to this area, but I definitely want to make sure. So let's just do 6 minutes and maybe pick one out of each one for you to look at. And again, build that folder, add it to that folder. Oh, Connie, I mentioned that earlier. No, please don't do anything to your students The district works with RAS Plus and Clever to upload your new students and to move your current students into their new school year accounts. So no, you don't need to do anything. We'll do all that work for you, darling.
Oh, I want to be here. Right.
Oh, we may have someone that needs to go on mute. Again, as you're exploring, if you see something, add it to the chat just to remind teachers to maybe go back and look at that later. You'll need to print the grammar, the oral language practice. I mean, the daily language practice, you'll have to print those. We have a new product called Writing A to Z that actually has the digital grammar work. All right, so if you could go ahead and add maybe one thing that you saw, we'll go ahead and move on to the next area. All right, so the last area that we want to look at is customizing that student experience. So we want to make sure that we go into that student management page, and there's several things that I want to make sure that you are aware of using in there. So again, it's going to make your life easier and make it much more intentional. So if you'll go ahead and go to that manage students, and click on your roster. And yes, we still see last year's kids, but that's okay. We'll get that fixed. They're probably starting to upload kids now. I was in a school district the other day and a teacher said, oh my, I see last year's and this year's kids. And so, you know, it takes them a couple of weeks to process that. So don't worry, we'll fix it. All right, so first thing on the student management page, if any of you, I'm seeing interventionists in the class, in the session, if you do not have a homeroom classroom, but you're pulling in students from other classes, you can always go into your share in students and you can share in any of those individual kids that you're working with. That way you're going to have access to their data as well as you can make assignments for those students. So I always like to make sure that teachers know that that's there. Just another helpful tip for you. I'm going to go back to my roster. And under that settings tab, please make sure that completed assignments is green. That way, if a child reads a book, but you're working on it all week, it's not going to disappear. So make sure that you have that turned on. And then at the very bottom where you have your constructed responses, since so many of you teach the younger kids, you might want to turn off the constructed responses and just assign particular open-ended responses to your kids. And all you have to do is click the reading and just turn it off. So very, very easy. And any changes that you make today should stay for next year as well. Well, for this school year, rather. All right, I mentioned you can send messages. So if you're not aware, you can send messages to all of your kids. Click the box under that general tab, go over to the message board and either record or type or both. I like to do both. Welcome back to school. I challenge you to read 3 books this week. Or I want you to highlight your textual evidence. And you can also go in and give them additional stars. Stars are free, they don't cost you anything. Many of you use us for small groups, so I would encourage you to create groups for your kids. When you create groups on this side of the student management, when you go in to assign them, you can assign it by this group. Notice I have a lot of different group names on mine. I have a group for character analysis, decoding, compare and contrast. It's very easy to do. You just select the kids that you are going to put in a group together. Put the check in the box next to their name. There's a pencil next to the word group. And you either add a new group name or you add the kids to one of these groups that you've already made. So very, very easy to do. In the RISE Plus, some of you asked me about the levels, so you definitely want to check the levels. If kids have been reading in RISE Plus previously, it's going to have the latest independent level of where they were. You have some kids that may not have read all summer. You may have some kids that read all summer long. So, you know, you might want to take a look under their data as to when was the last time they read something. You may want to assign a benchmark running record. You may already have an assessment that gives you a Lexile, and you can go in and change the level based on the appropriate Lexile. Remember, level up is their highest independent reading level. This is going to be fairly easy. probably have 90% accuracy when they're reading. This is fun, but it's building background knowledge, vocabulary, and building those fluency skills and comprehension skills. Any new student, you may see a placement tool by their name. The placement tool is just an approximate place for the kids. I do not recommend that. If you're not if you're not telling the kids what it is and what they need to do, the kids are not going to take it seriously, or kindergarten parents are going to do it for them. And you're going to have kids at levels that really don't make sense. If you know, or you want to do an approximate. So Connie, I'm going to use you as an example. So Connie teaches first grade. Her kids have placement tools. What Connie may want to do is start her kids either at D, which is beginning first grade, or she may want to put them at the end of, at C, at the end of kindergarten. That's a good place to start them. She can always do a running record. She can always do a diagnostic that maybe the district is doing that's going to give her that information. The only person that can change a child's level is you. Okay, so no one else has control over that, because the only place you can do that is in this area on your student management page. All right, reading room is the last area that we want to customize. So I'm going to have you click the box next to all students. I'm going to have you go to the reading room, and I'm going to have you click customize. So you're under your RISE Plus tab, going to the box next to this word students, go to reading room, click pencil, click customize. This is an area that you can do for individual kids. You can do it for all kids. You can do it for a few kids. Whoever you check are the kids that it will change for. We have the automated populated area where kids can read 3 levels below, 2 levels above. That's about 600 books. Some teachers like to change it and just give them, maybe 2 levels below, maybe 1 level above, where it's not giving them a lot. That's still giving them 400 books, but it's giving them some to challenge with, and then some to go back and read. And again, these should all be very, very easy books, because they're all at their independent level. I would recommend that you turn on the listen for that area. And then here you have the fiction series. These are all assignable. These are all in the level text. I would recommend that you keep on the classics. I would uncheck graphics, because those are way too hard for your grade level students. So take that one off completely. Nonfiction series, again, that's probably something you want to sign out. Even kindergarten may want to sign out the colors nonfiction series. That way it's intentional and it's not just a free choice, unless you want them to. The packs and passages, a lot of these are really just designed for 2nd and 3rd grade and above. So I would uncheck all of those. Kindergarten, first, you may want nursery rhymes. You may want songbooks. Everybody may want poetry books. Pick and choose what works best, what's going to be the most intentional resources for the kids. If your kids do not need early reading, turn it off. Go ahead and uncheck them. But I would think a lot of your kids, you would want them to have access, and you can pick and choose. The Ignite, that's something that you want to assign out as well. You can change this as many times as you want. And if you want to change it for individual students, All you have to do is just check that individual student and you can go in and customize it. We've seen a lot of information today, and I'm sure that, you know, as you think back, you had some ahas. Maybe what are your next steps? Looking at the chat, I think I know what some of your next steps are. And then if you have a question, please feel free to add it to the chat and I'll try to answer it just as quickly as I can. I think we got to all of our objectives. We do need you to fill out the feedback from the district. I also have my own personal survey. This survey asks how I did today, number one, because I want to make sure I'm meeting your needs. But the other part of this survey asks, what else do you need from us? Other professional development, documents, what are some other things that we can provide for you? Some changes maybe that you would like to see us make. If you put that in that document, I take all of your comments, or they come to me in a PDF and I send it to product development. You know, we use that information. I meet with the district and say, this is some additional PD that your teachers have asked for. You know, not all of you need to do it, but I would appreciate it if some of you could take the time to do it. I do recommend that you go into the folder, and if you will, again, you might want to save that as a favorite because I will continue to add resources for you. Linda, it's called Level Up because it's just a way for kids to show growth, that they're going to be reading higher level text as they complete that area. Level Up's been around for years and years and years. I actually think we need to change the name because of science of reading and talking about different levels. That's something that we're talking about right now within our company as well. If you are filling out my survey, the title is RES Plus Supporting Literacy. And here is my contact information. And I'm going to add my email to the chat if you want to copy and paste it. I respond pretty quickly when you email me. If it's a true emergency, if you let me know, I'll be happy to call you if we need to. Oh, thank you, Roblin. I appreciate that. That's a nice compliment. Remember, all the slide decks are in the folder, and I think all the recordings are in this site. But thank you all for your time. It is 2:45, so we do need to end. I am going to do a couple of sessions on one's on just looking at your data, and I honestly don't. Oh, the other one's on supporting literacy knowledge. So let us know if you need anything else. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great school year. Good. I'm glad it was helpful for you. That's my goal.